Why Not? A queer podcast.
Thank you to our sponsor, Pineapple Healthcare, an award-winning primary care clinic right here in Orlando.
Pineapple Healthcare offers mental health counseling, HIV, STI testing and treatment, and specializes in care for the LGBTQ plus community.
Open Monday through Saturday. Call today at 407-553-6336 and schedule your appointment.
Pineapple Healthcare. Better together.
Hey, everybody. I'm Rick Todd.
And I'm Jeremy Williams, and you're listening to Wine.
Why Not? A queer podcast.
Episode 79. That's the year I was born.
Oh, there
Way
you go.
back in 1979.
Oh, my goodness. You're an old man.
A whole 45 years ago.
You are... Oh, you're middle-aged, right? Isn't it 45 you consider middle-aged?
If I live to be 90, then yes, this is middle age. If I live to be in my mid to late 60s, which I think is where my dad passed away, I've got about 20 years.
I mean, I don't think
which is terrifying to think about.
I don't think they say you're middle-aged because, like, this is half of your life. I think they say middle-aged, like... People who live to be 70s have like their midlife crisis about in their 40s, early mid 40s, late 40s.
I don't know. I have one every 4 years, so I don't know how everybody else's
What do you
goes.
think the average lifespan is? I don't think it's. I think it's 70.
It's right around 78, 79.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it dipped for the first time in like years. I think because of COVID. But men, it's like 78 point something, and women, I think it's 79 point something in the U.S.
So,
in 2021, it dipped to 76.33.
So I would think, right, if you were gonna have a midlife crisis, you'd be in it right now.
Yeah.
Are you in one?
According to that, I have 31 years left. So,
are you in a midlife crisis?
I mean, I have, for my 45 years, I have constantly owned toys and acted like a fool. So I think you have to hit adulthood to have a midlife crisis, and I haven't gotten there yet.
What do you think your midlife crisis is going to be? Like a sports car or...
No, I can't afford one of those. Maybe a Lego sports car. No, I can't afford one of those.
A hooker with a heart of gold.
Oh, I would love a hooker with a heart of gold. That's the dream.
Can't afford one of those either.
Maybe they'll see how nice I am and give me a discount.
I was thinking about that phrase the other day because I was thinking about...
that you're in a midlife crisis?
No, a hooker with a heart of gold. I was thinking about Pretty Woman.
Oh,
and
yeah.
how much I love that movie.
That's a good movie.
It comes on every now and then. I watch it when it's on.
I don't have traditional cable anymore, but when I did, it was always on like TNT. TNT ran that movie all the time, or TBS, one or the other.
I don't have traditional cable either, but I do have Sling, which does have live TV, has live TV on it, just not the network channels that you would want.
Yeah. Just the crap you don't want.
It's really just... oh my God. Can I just tell you how much I hate July now? Because all it is on Sling is effing Christmas in July Hallmark movies.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I get it. They're fine. But do they have to be on every channel all the time?
Yeah.
It's either get 2001 game shows, Christmas movies, How to Fix Your House shows, Harry Potter, or Pretty Woman, which I picked Pretty Woman.
It's a very specific group of people who have Sling, I think.
Also, I probably when Jen's mom's over, we watch Hallmark movies, so it's probably just like an algorithm said, you'll like these movies.
Yeah. It's why if you go through my my YouTube, it's all like reviews of like nerd stuff and then like 12-hour videos of rainstorms and snowstorms and like that green noise stuff that I sleep to.
I sleep to green noise.
Yes, you've mentioned that, yeah.
I find it
What's
hard.
your favorite kind of green noise?
I mean, isn't green noise green noise?
Well, I mean, green noise is kind of like, naturey sounds.
Oh, I just listened to a thing called green noise. And it's just a bunch of different sounds. It just sounds like static. And and it's just really like it interrupts my brain from thinking, and it just sort of like calms me down.
Mine was Rainstorm with oldies playing in the next room was what I was listening to for a while. But I've really gotten into snowstorms with strong wind. And I put that on YouTube for it's 11-hour videos, and I just listen to the howling wind, and I go right to sleep, and I have the best sleeps.
Yeah, I did that until like 2 hours into my sleep. There's like this noise, and it wasn't just somebody with night terrors in the bed next to me.
Yeah. Oh. Hope you're listening, Ryan. Thanks for coming.
No, like some animal screeching and then like loud thunder, and I'm like, this is not restful sleep. So I had to stop that.
You have to put the word gentle in your searches. Gentle rain, gentle wind.
I'm telling you, it's just this green noise. It really is just like, I mean, here's what it sounds like. Let's see if I can do it. And it's just that.
Like
constantly.
a coffee pot?
Is that what a coffee pot sounds like?
When it's... Now you do one.
Your coffee pot's broken. No, that's what it sounds like at the end of a Keurig, pushing that out.
Yeah, shooting that last
which
bit
is
of its fluid
which is
out.
what I imagine delivery of a child sounds like at the end. No.
No, it's more like... I don't know. I've never been present for one.
Welcome to our radio show version of Wine, Why
That
Not?
is our noise-making portion of the show. I hope you enjoyed it.
Unlike the other noise we make for 2 hours.
But yeah, so
What do you
give
think
those
my
a try.
midlife crisis? Do you think I've already had mine?
I
mean,
don't know.
I did get married a couple of years ago to someone way younger than me.
Yeah.
I feel like that's love, though. That's not a midlife crisis.
Within the heteronormative world, that usually is a sign of midlife crisis, but it's because you divorced your wife of the same age for a younger girl. But you jumped over that. Marrying someone your age and went right to the younger person. So what we're saying
is that when I hit my midlife crisis, I'm going to divorce Dylan and marry someone younger.
Yeah, I mean that's the trajectory.
I mean, if life imitates art, no, I'm good. I don't know what my midlife crisis will be. I think I'm skipping it and gonna go right into that reinventing yourself in your 50s.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. But before we get there, how was your week?
My week was terrible. Terrible
that's
week.
Great.
No,
tell me all about it.
There were some good things. There was some good, some bad.
Oh my God, it was like every year in review that I do.
It was a little good, mostly bad. No, the ever growing headache that is my car. I got the tires finally fixed on it and everything before the trip, and I had a battery issue and a sealant issue. So in the last 6 months, I've dropped probably $1,000-$1,200 on this car. And then last week, as I took the day off to get some errands done and to go to the movies. We'll talk about that in a minute. But as I was pulling out my driveway, there was a grinding sound like I was dragging metal. So I took it to Tuffy.
Did you run over the Tin Man?
I thought so, or like a transformer or something. So I took it to Tuffy, and apparently my brakes were just metal grinding on metal. So $900 later, they were able to fix it. But everything's under warranty. So knock on wood, everything that could go wrong with this car went wrong with it, and it's now fixed.
You know, interesting thing as far as brakes go, my brother can replace brakes.
That helps me not now.
He and I replaced them on my car.
Really?
Yeah.
Did it cost you less than $900?
It did. It cost me like $100, if even that. It was like $60, and then I sold the car. I traded it in.
Well, darn it.
Well, the more you know.
But the more I know. Anyway, I dropped $900 that I didn't have. So there's shout out. There's a new Lego store in town called Bricks and Minifig, South Orlando, and they purchased about a dozen of my Lego sets to help me pay for my brakes.
No, very nice.
Yeah. So that was fun. What else did I do? So here's how the day went. Took the day off. I was like, this is gonna be the best day ever. I was gonna go see Deadpool and Wolverine, which by the way was fantastic. Saw it twice this week. Had my brake issue, so dropped my car. The Tuffy is about a mile down the road from where I live. So I dropped my car off, walked home, and it was hot day. It's Florida. So got home.
It's hot in here right now.
It is a little warm.
Yeah.
So
Fix
then
that.
I sat down on the toilet to do my business, and then went to flush the toilet, and the frickin' knob broke. So then I had to walk to
How
Walmart
hard
to.
did you flush that toilet?
It was, like you've got the little handle
Yeah.
and then the stem. The stem broke. So apparently I'm not a plumber, but apparently those are made of plastic.
Yes.
And after time, they just wear off and they snap. So I had to walk to Walmart to buy a new one. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but it was hot out. So then I walked back, sweating my ass off, and then fixed the toilet.
That's not something that your property manager does?
It was a $2 piece. It would have taken longer for me to contact the property manager, have them come out to replace the $2 piece, and then do whatever they got to do. So I was like, I'll just do it. And then walked back, got my car, and then went and saw the movie and pretended that everything was right for the world for about 2 hours. But the movie was great. If you haven't seen it, yeah, it's got a lot of inside jokes and cameos and stuff. If you're fans of the previous movie, all the X-Men movies,
sounds exactly what every movie should do. So that anybody who hasn't watched the 37 preceding movies will be completely up to.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you're aware of this. You are an outlier in people who haven't watched all these movies. But it's still an enjoyable movie if you haven't seen all the other movies.
I would say I'm an outlier in your circle of people that you know.
Well, I mean, it made $215 million in its opening weekend, so there's a lot of people in that circle.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in that circle, but there's a lot of people in the world.
Yeah. Movies aren't made for
Jen's
those people,
in that
though.
circle. She hasn't seen it. I tried to. I wanted to go see it, but they wouldn't go.
Jen?
Yeah. And Dylan.
And you said they. I was curious who the party was. Yeah, totally. It's worth seeing. It's a good movie. Lots of fun
just curious.
jokes.
I mean, I haven't seen all the movies, but I'm pretty sure Wolverine is dead. And so then I'm like, well, I guess it must be one of those alternate universes where they can just rewrite whatever they want, which I'm assuming is what happened.
I don't give spoilers.
So. That's what we should rename this show. Welcome to my spoiler.
Yeah. I don't spoil it until you've seen it. I'm not just going to tell you. Have you seen the other two?
This is what I assume. I assume that Deadpool, grief-stricken by the death of Wolverine, dug him up to make sure that he was dead, and somehow lightning struck the blades on Wolverine's hands right at that moment, and it brought him back to life.
Yeah.
As an homage to what I'm sure was one of the original MCU movies, Friday the 13th Part 4.
Yes. It's exactly what happened. Have you not seen the first two Deadpool movies?
I have.
Okay.
I think. I don't know when I'm watching them if I'm watching the same one over and over again or if there's a different plot. But yes, I think I've seen. Look, I'm just kidding. I mean, of the movies, the Deadpool ones are pretty good, and I enjoy them.
Yeah. To understand this movie, you only have to see the two Deadpool movies.
I would probably enjoy it more if Liam Neeson was Wolverine.
What? Why?
Just like I think that Kelly Clarkson should sing every song ever made, I do believe that every action movie needs Liam Neeson. I kind of do think that. I'm just a huge Liam Neeson action movie fan.
He's done some good movies.
Now, how's that for an outlier?
I don't know anyone, whether it's the 200 million people who saw this movie or the rest of the world who didn't, who thinks that every movie deserves to have a Liam Neeson action scene in it.
Yeah.
It's a strange
Just
take.
imagine how much better Driving Miss Daisy would be if the driver got into a fight with Liam Neeson. He would have been killed. Liam Neeson would have killed him.
I don't know.
I've
The
seen
driver
Liam
was Morgan
Neeson.
Freeman.
I've seen Liam
Morgan
Neeson
Freeman is God.
shoot somebody
Twice, I
in their
believe.
ankle and they die immediately. Now that's power. But I guess theoretically God has power too, so it could be a good battle.
Yeah. Love to see it.
So what else? Anything fun? Anything outside?
I'm looking at my notes.
What do you I mean, on a scale of 0 to 3 grapes, and keeping in mind all of the movies that Deadpool or Wolverine or Captain America are in, how many grapes do you give?
I give it 2 3/4 grapes.
2 3/4.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, the end of them gets a little weird and you don't want to eat the whole thing.
Yeah, not a full 3 grapes, but I feel it's better than a 2.5.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Did you enjoy the last Spider-Man movie?
Which one? Oh, yeah, that one was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, kind of.
The one about the multiverse and all the multi-Spider-Men?
Yes.
Yeah.
All about it. Yes. Yes, I know all about it. It helps explain Santa Claus. I appreciated it.
I heard a theory.
It was in a Friends show.
Oh, that's right, it was. I was like, why does that sound familiar?
It was it
that's
called
a
Santa Claus?
multiverse.
It was that Santa Claus is like in the multiverse and
there's 365 universes, and that all the Santas help each universe. Is
so
a
they work
day
every
of the year.
day.
Yeah.
They're just helping all the kids into different, and that's how they get it all done. Perfect.
That's basically the new Deadpool movie.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. Okay.
So, see, there you go. You'll enjoy the movie now.
I mean,
you have a
yes,
connection.
I will. I do I think that my love of the Spider-Man movies probably has more to do with Tom Holland than the shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I just learned? Do you know what the the highest grossing movie of 2021 was? Well, you read it.
2021, it was Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
Yeah. It made over $1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was going to be because it's the only movie that was in theaters that year, but no, it just actually did well.
It was also one of the only movies in theaters that people went and saw.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a slow start. I mean, it still has been a slow start for cinemas.
Yeah.
But this summer,
That's too
starting
bad.
to pick up.
That's too bad. I think I would go to the movies every day, every week if I could.
Yeah. I would if I could afford it.
Or
and
if I
if
had the
it
movie
wasn't,
pass.
God, I miss Movie Pass.
Have you explained to everybody on the podcast how you single-handedly destroyed Movie Pass?
Every single day I went. Every single day.
Yeah, I went when Jen and her mom went on a Christmas vacation without me. Hi Jen. I went and saw like 12 movies that week. It was great. I had a Movie Pass then.
I saw all the movies that were playing and then went back and saw them all again. Because I was like, oh, no new movies? Oh, you know what? I can see as unlimited, as many as I want. I will hang out in a theater and I will watch a movie again. It's fantastic. I saw some movies I probably would never have gone out of my way to see just because of Movie Pass. Remember that movie 12 Horses with Chris Hemsworth?
No.
You should check it out. I saw it twice for free. Well, not free. As part of my unlimited Movie Pass season.
Now, if you tell me that Liam Neeson kicks his ass in that movie, I'll go see it.
Don't quote me on this, but he may be in it. Oh. It's definitely a type of movie he would be in.
If I get through this movie and he's not in it, I'm going to be mad.
Let's see. I saw... because I went through... mostly saw the movies at Regal, so I think I have a list on my Regal app still of all the movies I saw.
Do you know what would be nice if they did this? If they did like an Oscar pass, and so for X amount of dollars you can go and see every Oscar nominated movie.
Is it AMC or Carmike? One of the cinemas, they don't do it for all the nominated movies, but they do it for all the movies that are nominated for Best Picture. And I've done it a couple of times. It was more popular, obviously, when they had 5 Best Pictures, but the day before the Oscars, you would go and watch all 5 Best Picture nominees all day. Now they split it between 2 days. But it's like, it's like $80, which still isn't bad, but you're sitting in a theater for 2 days straight, just watching 10 movies. So, if that's something you're into.
Do you think movies are made to be shown in theaters? Like, do you think that's where they're supposed to be enjoyed? Or do you think that like directors and production companies are now like, oh, let's just make it for streaming?
I think that production companies probably have a clear cut, like, hey, this would be good on theaters, this would be good on streaming. But I would be willing to bet that any director who's making a movie makes it with the intention of it being seen in theaters. There's directors during the whole COVID thing that were holding off their movies because they wanted them seen in theaters and got very publicly pissed off at theaters or studios for putting them on streaming.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers was a big one. That's why Christopher Nolan took Oppenheimer to Universal, because he had done all his movies with Warner Brothers, and then they threw that piece of trash one he did. I'm sorry, I love Nolan movies, but that movie was garbage. The one with the versus time and all that with Robert Pattinson in it. I don't remember the name of it, but they dropped it on Max,
What?
HBO Max.
Was that Tenet?
Tenet, that's what it was.
That wasn't trash. This is why we don't.
Such a dumb movie.
I enjoy working with you, and I love it that we have this podcast together. But we lived together for 3 months once, but I don't know how we did that. Did you just stay in your room the whole time? Because it seemed like we disagree on like everything. Tenet was good.
It was so dumb and so boring.
I thought it was as good as the other one where the
Nolan movie.
I couldn't tell you 3 movies that Christopher Nolan made. That's actually a lie.
He just named his Batman movies and you'd be 3.
Oh, I didn't even know he had Batman. I was going to say that would be a lie because I know that he did Oppenheimer, and then we just discovered he did Tenet. Yeah. And then I know that I just forgot. Oh, Interstellar.
Now,
that movie was not what?
That was a good movie.
No, it wasn't.
It was a good movie.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
there was no way.
So much better than Tenet.
There is no way that he fell through. I can't even wrap my brain around how dumb it is that he, in the future, falls through a black hole and moves a book that his girl sings in the past, which is the only way he gets to the future. Multiverse, right?
I'm sorry that you weren't able to understand the movie, Richard.
Look, it took me 15 years to understand how Marty McFly got back to Emmett Brown in the good old days of old-timey photos.
Did you did you like Inception?
Yeah, that's the one where I was going to say, like Tenet was to me just as good as Inception, where like the thing falls.
Inception is one of, if not his best movie. I loved Inception. So good.
I bet we disagree on the ending.
I love the ending. I thought it was a really good ending.
Well, I mean, it's a good ending, but what happened at the end? Did he wake up, or is he in that?
Oh, he woke up.
In the circle forever.
He woke up. And the only reason, and this isn't coming from Christopher Nolan, this comes from Michael Caine, that before the movie they started filming, Christopher Nolan, sorry, I'm about to spoil this for people who believe differently.
You've had time.
Christopher Nolan told him that anytime you're in the scene with Leonardo DiCaprio, it's the real world. And the ending, Michael Caine is there with him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I just figured the thing was falling.
Yeah, well, it looks like
falling.
it's about to fall. But yeah, Michael Caine said that anytime he's in the scene, that's the real world. So.
Well, while we're clearing up endings of shows, I just want everyone to know that Dottie Henson did not drop the ball on purpose. Just had to get that off my chest.
I also want to let you all know that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father.
Spoiler.
Sorry. Anyway, yeah, so I saw that movie twice.
Well, good.
It was really good. You should check it out.
Sounds like a great week.
How was your week?
It was divine. Let's see, what did I do? I'll start off by saying that we all went to the 12th Annual Diversity Awards and Lunch put on by the LGBT Plus Center of Orlando.
Yes.
They were doling out some awards. Some really great people won some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, including Watermark.
Watermark did?
We sure did. Watermark won Small Business Partner of the Year.
Yep. You gave a nice little speech.
We have a great relationship with them.
Gave this podcast a shout out.
I did give this podcast a
shout
out.
Did.
Hey, and everyone who's listening right now because of that speech, thanks.
Yeah.
Now, if you are listening to this podcast because you heard the speech I gave, raise your hand. Thank you.
I didn't know you were listening.
You didn't listen before? What? That was a shout out to my speech. Yeah, it was really cool, really fun. We really like working with the center. They throw great events, and we're part of them. There's another one coming up in November called OutCon. Apparently, it's blowing up, and it's going to be this huge thing. And and I just know this is going to grow into this massive thing that we're going to hate going to because it's going to be so big. You know what I mean?
You are going to hate going to it because it is all the things that you don't like.
No, it's going to be, we're all going to hate it because we're going to be working and we're going to have to get in there early and get things loaded and stuff like that. But it'll be fun. It'll be really cool. It'll be kind of like, you know what it'll remind me of? It's like what gay days used to be like.
Yeah.
You know, when it was like you couldn't find parking and the expo was this huge thing and there's all kinds of stuff going on. So it's exciting. I think there's enough about gay culture that I like. I mean, I'm part of it, right? So I'm thinking there's enough that I'll like.
Yeah. Are you going to cosplay?
I'm sorry, what?
Will you be dressing up as your favorite characters? It's part of the enjoyment of the con.
Oh, no. It is part of some people's enjoyment of the con. But, like, cons are just conventions. So it's just out convention where you can go and meet, like, famous gay people and get autographs. And there's all kinds of gay stuff going on and gay booths and all this kind of stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, what am I dress up as? Ellen DeGeneres, like my favorite gay character?
I gotta look at the details. I think it's focused on like nerd culture, like a Comic-Con, but with LGBT focused.
I don't know. I think I heard some of the people that are working on getting there, and it's gay culture.
Mm.
I mean, that's what
I have to check the
that's what a
details
con
on
is.
that.
I've been to Cookie Con, and I didn't dress up as a macadamia nut white chocolate chip cookie. Although now that I say that, I'm disappointed that I didn't. But yeah, I mean, they have seminars on how to decorate cookies and how to do all this stuff. It's just this is just like a gay culture convention, I would think.
Interesting. So
I mean, I anticipate there will be people dressed up. Like I expect there to be a lot of Robins, of the Batman and Robins. Anyway, So they do a lot of great events, and we're very happy to have won, and we love partnering with them. So just a shout out to the center and all the great stuff that they do.
Yeah. Oh, she pulled it up on I'm sorry, I got distracted. She pulled it up on the screen.
When you're done reading, let's do a podcast.
Just to give you a heads up, it's focused for fans of anime, comics, movies, TV shows, gaming, and more.
Well, they got movies and TV shows.
Are you going to dress up as your favorite 911 character?
I will dress up. I'll make you this deal. What do you tell me? Like, I get to pick what you're gonna dress up as.
Okay.
And then I will dress up. Wait, and then you'd have to pick mine, and I want to do that. Why don't we? You tell me you're gonna dress up as something cool, and then I'm gonna dress up as my favorite 911 victim.
Oh, please let it be the guy who got eaten by a tiger.
I don't even know what that means. Your glee at the fact that I would be dead.
That is the only 911 episode that I am aware of because it was all over TikTok, the clip. But the guy who was taunting the tiger and then the tiger got out of the cage. And Angela Bassett is like, we've got to get to him. And then, oops, too late. Tiger ate him.
I mean, I feel like it's going to have to be somebody who lived. Otherwise, I'll just be dead. Oh. I'll do that.
You can dress up as a tiger furry for
but
the
all I'm
outcon.
going to do is put like a little nose and like whiskers on here and then just a bunch of blood dripping down. That's all it'll be.
I'm going to get with the furry community and we're going to dress you.
Do you remember that Halloween that you and I were going? We're going to
the masquerade thing in Tampa?
It wasn't Masquerade Ball, but it was probably the what's that thing? It's called, because there's a Masquerade Ball that Balance Tampa Bay puts on.
Yeah.
But this was
the thing at the
All Hallows.
All Hallows.
And then we were on our way there. And we were like, let's go. Every time I hear furries, or every time you say the word furries, I think of you putting on that Chewbacca costume. Which was, and I do believe I have a picture of this. We'll put it on our social media. And I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We won't. Good times. But speaking of Chewbacca,
it's a very tight costume. I'm just
putting
that out there.
Segue. I also went to Disney on
very nice.
Saturday.
Which park?
To Hollywood Studios.
Nice.
Whenever Dylan comes into town, he came into town for the lunch thing on Friday. He usually stays the day, and we go to Disney.
Yeah.
And so we went there, but we started to do this thing where we go really early. And so we make lunch reservations. Then we go really early, try to get on a couple of rides, go to lunch, and go home. And so we went there, and we went to go on. We got there at 8:45, which I will never do again. Like it's awful. It's hurting cattle because it doesn't open till 9. So you're in these like really long lines to get into
just
the park.
waiting to
Plus, they have this thing where they let people staying in the hotels in early. So by the time we got in, already an hour-long wait on Rise of the Resistance, which is what we were going to go to. So we go there, we ride Rise of the Resistance. We get there at 8:45 to ride that ride. 10:30, we get out of the ride. So then we just kind of walk around shops because our lunch reservations are at noon. So we just kind of walk around and look at shops because we don't have time to go on anything else.
Yeah.
But really, look, I like Star Wars. I do. I enjoy it. Like if another Star Wars movie came out, I would go see it in theaters. Like I enjoy the movies.
Well, I got good news for you. There's about 900 of them coming.
But I don't love Star Wars. You know what I mean? I mean, like I do appreciate Star Wars like a half a grape more than I appreciate Marvel Universe.
Sure.
But I just, the whole park is like, no, not the whole park, Disney fans. I understand. But 3/4 of it, it's all Star Wars. It's like one end of the park to the other. And it's just, it's kind of obnoxious. I mean, that whole thing they built, it's pretty cool. It's huge spaces and it's all craziness. Like there's so much of it. But that little marketplace, have you been to the studios since they put this up?
I have not been to the studios, I believe, since it was called MGM.
Oh, okay. I used to love the studios. I love the Great Movie Ride. I love seeing the Little Mermaid show, which the Little Mermaid show hasn't been on in, I don't know, probably since you've been there. And then that big building next to where the movie ride used to be, which, by the way, it's not the movie ride anymore. And then the building next to it is nothing's going on there. So
there's nothing inside the building?
It used to be, it was frozen. Did they get rid of that? They stopped doing it? Well, it didn't look like it was going on while we were there. It's just...
Can't have frozen in the middle of a summer where we're experiencing global warming.
Well, I think Olaf would appreciate it. Because all he wants are warm hugs.
That's true.
And let me tell you, walking around that park, you can get a few of those. So it's just, I think I discovered, I know, right? I think I discovered that park's just not for me, which sucks because I've also discovered that I love Hollywood and Vine. The buffet. It's so good. And yeah, so it sucks.
Yeah. Like I said, I haven't been to Hollywood ever, apparently, since it was MGM. But it seems like Disney is doing with Star Wars what Universal has done with Harry Potter. It's like they see that it brings the audience in and they're like, oh, build more, build more. It's soon just going to be Harry Potter and Star Wars parks. Everything else will go away.
Yeah, and I guess I gotta say, I probably like Harry Potter more than Star Wars. So I really think it's impressive what Universal has done, and I care less about what Hollywood Studios has done.
What do you think about the Avatar fans?
I think I've said
that's
this.
at Animal Kingdom, right?
Yeah, I think I said this about. There's 2 rides at that thing. I mean, the Avatar has not taken over the Animal Kingdom. But that ride, I call it Flight of the Banshee. It's not Flight of Passage. Best ride I've ever been on in my entire life. I love it so much.
Well, you got, I think, 3 more Avatar movies coming, so expect expansions.
I like those too.
Yeah. Soon that entire park will just be Avatar.
Now, when in the 5th Avatar movie, when they go back in time and stop them from destroying that city so they can do a whole new series of shows, it might lose me.
James Cameron knows what he's doing. James Cameron, I'm just running through my head real quick, has never made a bad movie, I don't think. But maybe he has. I don't remember.
Also, I think, you know what? If Liam Neeson was in Titanic, I don't think Rose would have survived.
Has Liam Neeson been in any James Cameron movies?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
He wasn't in Avatar.
No.
He wasn't in...
None of the Terminators.
He wasn't in... Ooh. He would have been good in Terminator.
He would have been. He's like, I have a very particular set of robotics.
So then I watched, before I had to watch all the stuff that I have to do, like I wasn't busy enough. I worked like most of yesterday. I had all this stuff to do. But I did take a break to watch The Beekeeper. Have you seen that? Do you know anything about it?
That's the Statham movie.
Yes.
I know of it. I have not seen it.
So he's like this beekeeper, which turns out to be as like there's this secret government agency people called the Beekeeper, and there's like a beekeeper, and it's to protect the hive, and so they do all the lawless things.
So it's not about him keeping bees?
No, it is. Because when he retires from that, he keeps bees, and he becomes like friends with Mrs. Huxtable, who I mean, that's not her name.
From the
I forget
Cosby
the character.
Show?
Yeah, but
Felicia Rashad.
Felicia Rashad.
I'm like,
no.
who's Mrs. Huxtable?
How's that for multiverse? I want to see Jason Statham go back in some multiverse where he's friends with Mrs. Huxtable, and then but she gets like cyber scammed, and they wipe out millions from her, and she's destitute, and she shoots herself, and he then goes on a revenge thing and kind of comes out of retirement to make everyone involved in this scam pay for it. And it goes pretty high up and very interesting. Lots of bullets, lots of blowing up of cars and buildings and fire and bees.
What streamer is that on?
My kind of thing. It's on, I think it's Amazon, because I think I came across it while I was looking for the movie Mysterious Skin, which we were going to talk about, and I'm so glad we decided not to.
Sorry, I just dropped $900 on breaks. I can't afford to rent a movie right now.
I wasn't really. It's an old. I mean, it's
celebrating its 20th year.
Yeah,
That's why we're going to watch it.
We watched a movie that celebrated its 30th, and it didn't come across as old as this did when I watched the preview for it. Because I made Jen watch the preview for Mysterious Skin, and she was like, "I am not watching this movie." But while looking for that, I saw The Beekeeper, and I was like, "Oh, I always wanted to see that." So it was between Beekeeper and Ricky Stenicki. Have you seen that?
No, I don't know what Ricky Stenicki is.
Oh my God. Okay, real quick. Sorry, I go on. But Ricky Stenicki is about these guys that like to do guy things with each other. They want to go to World Series games, they want to go to concerts, and their wives won't let them. And so since they were in high school or whatever, to get out of doing what they didn't want to do, they had this made-up person named Ricky Stenicki. And so they were always like, oh, Ricky Stenicki needs our help, or kind of thing. So Ricky Stenicki gets cancer, and then they all have to go to help him in the hospital, but they're really all just going to a concert. So they're lying to everybody about this fake person so they can do whatever they want. Well, while they're away, the one guy's wife goes into labor, and everybody's trying to find him. So they call all the hospitals in whatever area they said that they were going to be, and there's like no Ricky Stenicki. So some people are starting to question whether or not this is real. So they decide to hire an actor who is like a porn dancer, played by he dresses up as famous people and strips naked and does dances and stuff and it's played by John Cena. And so they hire him to be Ricky Stenicki, and they bring him in, and he ends up taking he likes that life so much he doesn't want to stop it, and it's the whole thing. I forget who's in it, but it's got other famous people. I was gonna watch that or Beekeeper, and Dylan didn't watch either, so Beekeeper it was after he left.
Well, Ricky Stenicki sounds hilarious.
It does.
I enjoy a good John Cena
Have you ever
movie.
seen that scene where it's got William H. Macy's in it, and so Ricky Stenicki comes in and he's watching videos of him give speeches, and he's always doing things like with his hands. You have to look at me while.
Oh, it's got Zac Efron.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but he does things with his hands like this, and then
I have seen that clip.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sorry, those of you who are just
Making,
listening,
jerk-offing sound, movements.
Listen, but it looks like he's like giving air hand jobs.
Yeah.
And at one point, he kind of cups his hand like this, and he's going like this, and then William H. Macy's saying, "Oh my God, it looks like I'm cupping the balls." Just that scene alone made me want to watch it. I think I'm gonna have to watch that.
I might check it out. Oh, Andrew Satino is in it. He's on that podcast with that one guy. He's Asian, and they had him watch the I Wanna Be Ninja video, and then he's cracking up. You should check it out. It's hilarious.
Speaking of commentaries, were we? Because we haven't talked a lot about the Olympics. I don't know if you've watched any of the Olympics.
I watched some of the opening ceremony, and then I've specifically sought out some of the diving.
Yes, well, that is definitely worth it. I just want to say thank you to Peacock, because they have brought back Kevin Hart and
I
Kenan
did
Thompson.
Yes, I did
And
watch that.
it cracks me up. I mean, it wasn't as funny as this first episode wasn't as funny as like the year in review that they did was, because that's the one I can't talk about it, where they had the little squirrel and the naked guy in the garage. Anyway, new episode on tonight. No. Yeah, it's Monday. Yeah, new episode's on tonight.
Yeah.
Love it.
Nice. Fantastic.
Anyway. Woo.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some
nice,
stuff.
exciting week.
Let's talk about what else dominated our week, which is this series. Come on, it got good this time. It's crazy.
Can I just say, no, you know what? I won't say it. There are certain things I want to say about Angela.
I have to edit my comments as well.
Horrible. And this is taken completely out of, I don't even give a shit that this is a reality show anymore. One of the worst human beings I have ever seen recorded on television. She's a fucking psycho. She is so crazy. You know, she voted for Trump twice, and she probably didn't wear a mask during all of COVID, and was one of those whiny bitches who was like, let me in the store. I don't want to wear a mask because I can't breathe. I have never hated a woman more on television. No, a person. I hope she finds this podcast and knows that some random fat queer guy in Orlando who she'll never meet cannot stand her.
I want to say that I know when she listens back to this and hears that, she's gonna say, it's just a game.
And then she'll cry.
The de-evolution of humanity in her in one episode is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. And that's why I told you, I think I said, like, there was something like this which made me watch this entire season. It's just to get hooked on the show. Like, this sort of meltdown this early on, it's unprecedented. Now, there was a person two seasons ago who couldn't go to sleep, and being in the house was so overwhelming that she also had some sort of a mental breakdown, and they removed her from the house so that she could get help, because it was just too overwhelming for her to be there. But this sort of thing. By the way, I describe Angela like this because somebody posted, one of our freelancers posted something on. It was a picture of everybody in the house, and then just over all of their pictures was the word crazy with an arrow pointing to Angela. Because seriously, Angela, like, it almost is like something seriously wrong with her, not by choice, because her meltdown was so crazy. But I said in that reply to her, I was like, listen, I don't know if this was some weird gameplay move. There's theories that she's a producer plant and that she's just there to cause problems. But I said, I know nothing about her personal life at all, but I'm pretty sure that she has said, but what about the children while burning books?
Yeah.
Like, that's the vibe she gives off.
Yeah, she's a real estate agent in Utah, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I need to know about you, Angela. You fit the cookie cutter version of victim white lady who supports the Republican Party and votes for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you do, but you should be aware that that's the image you put out there. If you are a staunch Democrat who voted for Hillary and you care about human rights, you better start putting that image out there, because everyone thinks that you're a hateful Trumper.
You know, think about this. If she is a liberal in that house, she has no idea that Kamala Harris is running for president.
No?
Isn't that interesting? So something going on. If she is the Trumper that we think she is, she's going to be really upset when she gets out of that house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, so we're watching episode 4,
yes,
right? And it starts off, and in a weird way, everyone seems to be crying. Do they cry this much in every season? No. Well, actually, at one point, usually everybody cries once, but it's usually in the diary room by themselves, not just out there in public for everybody to see. So, I did feel bad for Chemo, because I get that whole idea of, like, you know, being, because he's put on the block, right? Yes. And so he's upset. Kenny and Lisa, yeah. Yeah, he's upset because he was bullied as a kid, you know, he's Hawaiian.
He's Hawaiian. Yeah.
Gay Hawaiian, picked on as a kid. He was chubby as a kid, so he was like, picked on in sports and stuff like that. So, being immediately put in an outcast situation was traumatizing for him in a way, or it just brought it all back up. So he was a little teary-eyed about it.
As a fat kid who, I'm not Hawaiian, but checks all those other boxes, give me a fucking break. It's a game, chemo.
It is it is, but don't you think it's not? Like it's a game to play to try to get to win, and you've got to put people up and that kind of thing. But what Angela did was not a game.
Angela's a monster. Nothing she does is about a game. Everything she does is about burning the world down.
So I'd say, this is, it doesn't, this episode, she doesn't start off being crazy.
No.
So,
and you know what the craziest part is? Is she goes batshit crazy, and then she's like, rah, rah, rah. Hey guys, it's time for the game.
Oh no, I'm going to get into all of that, but I just want to point out how it's starting is that after she nominates everybody, and everybody who was nominated is very upset. Which is typical in everything. They don't always cry, but most of the time they do. Let's just say that people with feelings cry when they get put up, right? Yeah. So he's got feelings, he's crying. Lisa, I think she cried. Kenny, not crying.
Yeah.
See, so
although Kenny did say, because when they were doing the little where they were giving their little speeches or whatever in the diary room. I did write this down because it's him against a gay guy and a woman, and he said, I'm put up against two people I know I can beat. And that just felt sexist and homophobic to say. I'm just saying. For the straight white man to go up there and be like, I'm up against the queer and the lady. I can take them.
It's interesting that they say that because they don't know what the competition's going to be. And this was the competition.
He just assumes he'll be better at everything than the gay and the girl.
But you also don't know what the question the producer asked them. I think a lot of the things they say in the diary room are stuff that somebody else writes.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a reality show, which means it's not based in reality. But when everybody's crying, everybody's upset about the nominations, and then Angela starts crying and goes up to all of the people that she's nominated and cries and begs for them to forget. Like, no, it's not your turn. They're the ones who get to be sad right now.
She is so victim-y.
Right, and and it's just like, it's like firing somebody and then calling them and saying, "Don't be mad at me." It's like, no, you don't get to do that. You have to.
Yeah, you did your part. Now walk away.
I say that because I've done that.
Oh, have you?
Well, when we had during COVID, when we had to let like half the staff go for 36 hours.
I sure do remember that.
I felt so bad about that that I went on what's the thing called Cameo, and I paid for a previous Big Brother contestant because Ryan and I watch Big Brother and he loves this person, and I got them, and he's a Broadway star, so I got him to sing part of your.
I have no idea about this.
He sang Part of Your World to Ryan. And he said, I know, Rick, he just said that you're having a bad day, and he just wants you to, he just wants to know that he's thinking of you, blah, 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 and sent this thing. And Ryan really liked it, I guess, but he probably was like, that asshole who just fired me spent $100 that I don't have to get this guy to sing this song for me. I bet he still has it.
Yeah.
You should ask him, tell him you want to see it.
If the roles were reversed and I was let go and then you did like a cameo from... I don't know, some
Lego
Wolverine. I would have watched it, and then I would have looked at Chris, and I would have said, "You will not fucking believe this." But I'm sure Ryan enjoyed it.
Well, I'm sure he does now. Unless it's a
I don't think he enjoyed
reminder.
anything that weekend.
Hey, look, everybody. You got hired back 36 hours later.
Yeah, it was a tough time. COVID was a thing. We didn't know if we were all going to be coming back to work. It was a tough time.
Yeah. Yeah, he had to go. I'm just kidding. It was him or everybody. No, I'm just kidding. There were several people. It was a bad day. So anyway, I did write this note down too because as people were like going in the diary room and talking about how I should have been nominated, I just knew that this whole crazy eyes thing was going to come up.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to point out that Lisa kind of has crazy eyes.
Oh my God, Lisa does have crazy eyes.
And for those who were listening to last week who don't know who Lisa is, that's Timu Jennifer Aniston.
Yes, the the cook, the chef.
Yeah. So now it's all done. The nominations have happened. They've had their little conversations.
I do want to make point this one thing out, because this also feeds into Angela's victimhood and why she unhinged. But after she did her thing and everybody was going around hugging, she was so pissed that Matt did not come up and give her a hug.
Yeah, and that's something that you probably don't recognize from previous seasons because you don't watch the show, but it is BB etiquette. Whether you like the person or not, if they win head of household, if they win veto, or after nomination ceremonies, you go up to everybody who was nominated and you tell them that you're sorry they were nominated, and you go up to the head of household and you say that was a great speech. And if you don't do that, it means you're against me and I'm coming for you. It's just the way that it is.
That sounds ridiculous.
It's just, there's a lot of life that doesn't make sense. But I wrote down, just as, because I was going to say that was my next comment, Matt should have hugged her. It's just BB etiquette. And if you noticed, every other single person in the house did, but him. And that's drawing a line. Now, he may not have realized that at the time, but he's watched the show. He knows. It's just what you do.
Yeah, I don't care if it's a show or not. Forcing people to hug is ridiculous. And I am surprised that you condone that as someone who hates hugs.
No, I'm going to tell you this. It doesn't, I'm not going to force anybody to do it, but not doing it is a game move, and it's read that way. So then the crazy starts, right? She's pacing around her head of household room because, right, those who don't watch the show, when you win head of household, you don't have to sleep in the big communal rooms. You get your own room. You get letters from your family, pictures. You get all kinds of.
You get a TV to watch everybody in the house, which is creepy as fuck.
So creepy. So I got a comment about that too. She's starting to get a little crazy. She's starting to walk around, pace around, and she's mumbling about Matt not hugging her. Right? And then she's like, and then she starts watching the TV, and then she's like, look at him turning everybody against me, which is kind of crazy. Then it cuts away, right? It cuts away, it talks, and it goes into Matt and Mackenzie and Leah. Like, they're all getting close as friends.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious that they call themselves a throwmance. Because, like, when a couple gets together, it's called a showmance. But since there's three of them and they're all really close friends, they call it a throwmance. That cracked me up. So good for you. So then, while Angela is starting her meltdown, a group of people start forming an alliance, right? And so this is Cedric. I put nicknames in here too. Cedric, who we love, T-Core, Crochet, T-Core. Then there's Cam, Mustache, which is Joseph, I believe. Quinn, Chemo.
Mustache is a weirdo.
Oh, yeah, I got comments in here about him too. And Chelsea. All get together and they're like, hey, we need the numbers. We've got this group together. We're going to be called the Collective, and it's us and Angela. And they seal the deal. Now, when you get an alliance that big, you've got all the numbers. You'll control the house. As long as one of you wins head of household, whoever you want to go home is going home. It's how a group of people gets to the last half of the season. Perfect. Smart. Great. So then Angela, then they cut back to Angela, who is now just fixated on this TV. I wrote down that watching Angela look at this TV must be what it's like when Trump watches Kamala coverage. Like, she is just seething and going crazy. So then,
yeah, I wrote here, Angela's out here fighting no one.
Yeah.
She's just fucking losing it in the room. And
so Quinn,
assuming everyone in the house is talking about her, and they're cutting to all these people who are not talking about her.
Right. And then yeah, like, she's like, look at Matt, he's turning everyone against me. And so she thinks every
and then it cuts them and they're like, so the weather's been crazy lately, huh? Yeah. It's so stupid. She's so crazy.
So then Quinn and Mustache go upstairs to
my nicknames I wrote, Hair and Mustache ran upstairs.
Janis Joplin and Mustache go upstairs to tell Angela, you're good. We got you. We've got the numbers. We've got this thing called the Collective. And surprise, Angela cries and says, this is great.
No,
Thank
she
you.
says, I fucking love it.
Yeah. And then immediately her voiceover from the diary room is like, they're lying to me. Like, so they're there telling her that we've got this alliance and we've got you covered. And then they leave and she's like, I can't believe that he got them to come up here. Like, this is what she thinks. Matt got them to come up here and lie to me about this alliance, and now everyone's against me, and I've got to do something about this. So then, She goes, she doesn't go to bed. She's up all night, mumbling to herself all
Crazy
night.
lady. And then they're all downstairs, just having breakfast. How was your night? Did you sleep well? I slept well. What did you dream about? Did you have a nice dream? I had a wonderful dream.
So Angela wakes up and she sees the TV and everybody's having a nice breakfast. And she's like, I'm going to go downstairs. So she comes out of the room. She's walking down the hallway. She's clapping her hands like this, getting ready to go down the stairs. And like, oh, people are like, Angela's clapping her hands. I'm going to clap my hands too. Party's about to start. Yay. Yay. And then Angela goes, real cute, Matt. And starts screaming at him.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I wrote down
unhinged.
here. She's like, Matt, you must be so proud of yourself. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But then because they showed last week, they showed when him and Angela were having their one-on-one, and he basically was like, when you said that I was going to enter a showmance, and it was just very off-putting, and you were doing this, and then he had made a comment about if she was coming after him, then he would go after her or something. He
said, because they were having a conversation and they made amends with the things that she had said about him that she should have apologized for and did. And then he said, that's all great. And then he said, yeah, I was like, should I go up there? Or, basically it was if we didn't make amends, I was thinking this is my gameplay to tell you, put me up and I'm coming after you. So he wasn't really threatening her. So I was wrong last time. He wasn't really threatening her.
What she heard in her head, and she's telling the rest of the house, basically, that he aggressively stormed into the room, threw her against the wall by her shirt, and he's like, I will destroy you, Angela.
Right.
And then she's like, he was just such a crazy-eyed bully. And he's like eating his Cheerios. He's like, what?
And then he goes, are you calling me crazy eyes? He was really, and then she puts her fingers on her eyelids and puts her
and she's like, crazy eyes.
Like, it was crazy. And then she's sitting there and she's like, and then she says this, which is hilarious. It reminds me of something that Jen told me about real quick. We're going to switch gears here. Mm-hmm. Jen's at work. She works at a very volatile place sometimes. And so she fires people who don't show up to work. She works in like an agency that hires and fires people. So this guy got fired, and he's in the office, and he's yelling at her, he's yelling at somebody else in the office, her boss. And he tries to punch her boss, and it misses and hits Jen.
Oh no.
and then he's like, I'm so sorry, I didn't, that was for you. And he would like point at the boss and like, I meant to hit you, I hate you, are you okay? I'm just so sorry about this, I hate you. And so this thing reminded me of that, because she's at the stairs and she's like yelling at him, and she does the thing with the eyes, and then she's like, and then she goes, but I'm such a loving person, y'all, and I want to have fun with all of you, but not you, don't ever talk to me, but you all are great, but I don't want you to say a word. Like, it was just the weirdest thing. And then
she goes, my two cohorts or whatever who came to see me last night and tell me of the plan. Your performance was like a bad movie, and I saw right through you. And Mustache and Hair look at each other like, what?
Right? They're like,
what is she talking about?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing about, like, now that we've through the first 2 weeks, I start to form opinions of like people that I actually do enjoy watching and like, and it is definitely not Quinn and Mustache.
Mm-mm.
No. Quinn's a little too overexcited every time he's in the diary room. He's one of those that yells in the diary room, and it's like, you're not screaming at anybody.
Yeah,
we get you're excited.
Mustache lives his life like he's in a Wes Anderson movie. Yes. And I don't like it.
Although I will say, he said one of the funniest things. At the end of her screaming, Angela screaming and all that, and then she kind of walks away, he mumbled, well, that'll make the episode. And that was hilarious to me. And I was like, I bet that ends up being in the opening of the next episode. And it was. So it made me laugh.
Yeah. I get it. It's a game. They're all angry. Angela's psycho. The one thing that Angela did that was like I was like, nope, I don't care if it's a game or not. You're done. When she started talking about his mom, and she's like, your mom would be so disappointed in you. Like, keep my mother's name out of your fucking mouth, Angela. I would have gladly smiled when they put me in handcuffs by knocking her teeth out if she said that to me.
Yeah, you know,
You don't fuck with the mother.
Right, you don't. And especially when, like, you know, that the mom was so excited that he was there, and she's watching this on TV, and she's watching, like, this thing happen to her son and she can't do anything about, and it's pointless and it's awful. And then to say she's gonna hate you and then she can't contact him, that's not cool.
Oh, because he was like, you know, because Angela's screaming. He's like, Angela, come on, my mom's watching this. Well, then she'll see what kind of a brat you are. And it's like, bitch, shut your mouth.
Right.
Your whole family's seen what kind of a bitch you are.
You know, later,
you're done.
I did write this down too because it kind of made me laugh because, like, it really upset him, right? And so later on, he's like in the bathroom with a bunch of people,
cry.
and he's crying like a lot. And and then he says under his breath, "I'm still playing for your mama." I shouldn't laugh at that, but it just cracked me up. But, I mean, I feel bad for him.
I do too.
But, you know,
and
they
I
were
saw
always going to
people
get him
on Twitter or X, whatever the fuck people call it these days. They were like, well, you all have to understand they probably edited this sympathy storyline for Matt. And I was like, you can only edit so much. I mean, the crazy is crazy. I don't care how much editing you do.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I mean, I don't know. They can do. I think that they can really help or destroy somebody. Like, don't piss off the editors if you're ever on a reality show because they could change your life. But you know, of course they're going for the sympathy angle. They're creating drama. So she goes batshit crazy, and then everybody feels sorry for Matt, but for rightly so. I mean, unless they completely edited out the part where he pushes her against the wall and says, "I'm gonna get you." You know what I mean?
It's like if he really did that, they shouldn't have cut that out. They should have left it in.
So then people's game falls apart and it becomes a totally different show. So they got the power of veto that they got to play for, right? The power of veto is where whoever wins, they can pull somebody down off the block, and the three people currently on the block are Chemo, Kenny, and Lisa.
Yes.
Right? So there's 6 people that play in the veto, the 3 nominees and the head of household, and then they pick 2 other players. So they draw the names, and Mustache gets drawn, so he's going to play in it. And then Lisa's name gets drawn, but since she's already there, she picks Brooklyn as a person who can go and play on her behalf. Right? So the game is that they have to collect a bunch of tiles and form a word. This is something
just as bees.
Yeah. This is something that in different variations of it, this competition is something that's in every season of Big Brother.
Yeah.
So you got to go through some kind of like goop, which in this case is honey because it's bee themed. And they got to find, it's like spelling bee. So they got to find tiles to make a word. Whoever makes the longest word wins the power of veto. But what's different this time is that they had, you could block certain letters from being used, which Kenny finds the first block and he blocks the letter E like an asshole. Like, what kind of word are you going to form without an E? And then like Lisa finds H and blocks H, right?
I don't remember. Yeah.
I don't know. It was some letter that was like, how's that going to help? So then I like watching these kind of things because you can kind of see like who physical competitors are going to be like right off the bat. And it was fun for me to watch Zombie Angela at the end of it try to get, she didn't have a word because she couldn't get through the honey and get to the thing in time to bring in her word. Yeah, because she was just too exhausted and couldn't move, and that was fun. Poor little Angela. Don't cry about it.
Oh, being hateful drains your energy.
And it's fun to watch people constantly fall. And so Lisa kept falling, and Angela was moping around, and it made me laugh. So Kenny starts off strong, 7-letter word. He had camping. Then, I didn't put mustache in here, but mustache had the word spin, which I thought, oh, that's fine. But then he got disqualified because it was not an N, it was a Z, and he had turned it. I was like, why can't you do that? Didn't make any sense to me. So then Lisa had the word transform with 9 letters. Brooklyn, she didn't have enough. She had flock or flocks or something like that. So Lisa wins.
Pulls herself
off the block, and then of course,
surprise,
of course,
Angela puts Matt on.
Yeah, and she was a little too excited. She's a little gloaty. I don't know why. Like, does she? Here's the thing, too. Is like what, as a fan of the show, you would think she would understand that America is going to have votes in this, and they will have they some point, like, there will be, who do you want to get this good thing, or who do you want to hurt? And she's not going to benefit from America's votes, and that's gonna
I can break to her. She's not going to benefit from America after she's off this show. They're going to hate her wherever she goes. She's going to have to move to, like, France, where everybody hates everyone anyway.
So that was Wednesday. So after the veto, that's the end of the show. So now we're on Thursday. It's live eviction night Thursday. But they do show what happened between the end of the veto and the live episode, and Angela's now attacking Kenny. Because Kenny said, I'm not going to go out there and campaign against Matt because I like Matt. And
Matt's my boy.
Yeah. And
then she's like, are you stupid, Kenny?
Yeah. And just
a horrible human being.
Yeah. And I kind of like Kenny. I mean, there's just a thing.
He's very chill. I like him.
Yeah, he's just really chill, but he also seems like a good guy. You know, like relationships with people matter.
Now, one of the things I think that, because the house doesn't know that Kenny is a cop,
right?
But Matt's dad is a cop, so that's why Kenny kind of feels like he has this bond with Matt. Yeah. But everybody else in the house doesn't. They're like, you've known him for like a week. But there's like, like when a couple of people get on, if they're ex-military or whatever, I imagine you'd kind of have that veteran bond or something. But like, he feels bonded. I'm a cop.
Yeah, 100%. Or if you were in Big Brother and you had no connections with anybody, and somebody else from Orlando was in Big Brother, you'd probably align with them just because you have something to connect to.
Yeah, I would say, like, if I was in there, and I would bond with the other gays, but as I understand it, they don't let more than one gay on this show at a time.
Oh my God, what if you went on Big Brother and you were the first gay Big Brother showmance? That'd be awesome.
With Matt?
Well, I think he might disagree.
Cam.
Tucker. We'll get into him.
He is so stupid, but I love him.
His pitch about Lisa cracked me up. All right, we'll get to that.
Okay.
So, so now...
I just want to write my first note for night 5. Angela's a psycho, but damn, she sure called that showmance with Matt.
I mean, it was going to be.
Yeah. Because him and Mackenzie, like, that whole episode, they're like, I can't believe she thought I'd be in a showman. So, oh, hey, how's it going, Mackenzie?
2 more weeks and they would have been.
Yeah.
Definitely.
They're already sitting in a hammock together.
There will be showmances that happen. You just got to give people a chance to get to know each other. I do want to say this
because I don't know if it's just me or if this was something that you felt as well. When Mackenzie is in the diary room, is she a different person? Like, physically a different person. She does not look like Mackenzie in the show.
It's funny that you say that because there was a season where there were identical twins, and every day they would switch out. And so they would have they'd have 2 minutes to tell the other what happened the day before, and then they'd have to go in and pretend, and it lasted for a while.
Interesting.
But
I think it's the makeup.
They were a little off. Probably in the diary room, she's not wearing makeup, and she is wearing makeup.
But she looks like a completely different person.
Yeah, no, I think it's the same because they would tell you if it wasn't. Like, we knew watching it that these were identical twins. Yeah. But one was slightly heavier than the other, so somebody figured it out. But it's fascinating. Okay, so when the collective, like, because she called out the collective, and so everybody's like, the collective's gone. No, just find a new member. Get rid of Angela and find a new member. It doesn't make any sense to me. Mm-hmm. They could have pulled Matt in.
He would have enjoyed that.
Yeah. So anyway, or Kenny. Kenny's a good choice. And then Kenny would have had Matt as the side, and then he, would have been on both sides of the house, and Kenny have a good chance of winning. So then it gets to the BBAI competition, right? This is a live competition with the 3 people who are on the block. That's Chemo, Kenny, and Matt. Mm-hmm. And they have to watch videos, and they have to decide. They have to say, it's like these huge screens, and it plays like several videos for a couple of minutes, and they have to decide which person in the house appears in the videos the most. And so they all picked somebody different. So Kenny, Kenny and Matt picked T-Core and Mustache, which I thought it was one of those. But no, it wasn't. It was Quinn, and Chemo picked Quinn, so Chemo comes off the block.
Won. Yay, Chemo. And then he cried.
Yes.
Like a baby.
And just a spoiler alert for the next episode, it starts off with Chemo crying too. So, so now it's just Kenny and Matt on the block, and this is where it got kind of chaotic, because they're like, okay, guys, you get a couple of minutes, rally the troops, try to get votes, and then they all just stood there and gave speeches, and she's like, no, you're going to give a speech in a minute, and then they were just like, fuck it, go give your speeches. So they just went and they give their speeches to come or go, and I really like what Matt had to say. You know, it was basically like, I guess I know I'm going home, and Angela, this is on you. You know, you're gonna regret, like, as a person, what happened here, and I forgive you, and whether you asked for it or not, and that's just who I am. I think it was really good. It was really smart. The one thing that I didn't like about the speeches was the way that Kenny was sitting. There's way too much manspreading. Close up shop. It was right there in my face. I was trying to eat.
I mean, maybe he needed a lot of room.
Maybe.
I don't know, Kenny, but I'd like to. No.
Yeah. And Angela just sat there the whole time looking smug.
Yeah. Angela just, she is, I don't condone violence, but she has such a punchable face.
She definitely does. She definitely has, like, you know, like if there was some sort of, or just like one of those like dolls you just smush.
Yeah.
Just like, So then they do the vote, and
at a vote of 8-3.
8-3, Matt is evicted from the house. I just during the vote. So this is, you get a glimpse. This is your first live vote ceremony. Everybody has to talk about how great Julie looks. God, that's BB etiquette, right? Except for Joseph. Like, Mustache sits down and he goes, "What up, fam?" Immediately, I was like, okay, you can be the next to go. I would rather have Angela in the house than Joseph at this point. He can go. All right, so then we go to Sunday.
Yes. And like you said, my first note, episode opens with Chemo crying.
Actually, like, it does, but I don't know if you noticed this, but it shows everybody's reactions to Matt getting evicted out of the house. So Mackenzie starts crying, Leah's upset, and immediately, so when you get voted out of the house, there's a wall that has everybody's face on it, and when you get voted out of the house, immediately your picture goes to black and white. And so somebody said, I don't know who said it, but it was hilarious. It might have been Tucker. But they said, he's even more handsome in black and white. And then they said, this isn't possible. And it cracked me up.
Yeah, that's happened since like the first season or whatever. That like the picture, they go black and white, yeah? That's not like a new thing they do?
No, they do it all the time.
Why did they all seem surprised then? They're like, his picture.
Because it was immediate. And usually it's like a couple of minutes, everybody gets a chance, and then they all go gather around the wall and they all watch it go together, and this was like immediate. So they're like, oh my God. Plus it's the first one and they've never seen it live, and they're like, oh my God, it's happening. So, but then Angela,
I'm starting to hate these people in this show.
Angela goes up to Mackenzie and hugs her. It's like, can I hug you? I don't know how you feel about me. It's just a game. Like, you weren't saying that on the staircase. You were saying that he attacked you personally and threatened you, and it wasn't a game. And now you're like, oh, but when I do something, man, it's just a game.
Yeah. And then this part was like, because she leaves, and then Mackenzie's in the bathroom, and she's got her little tissue, and she's dabbing the corners of her eyes. And then Leah walks in, and they look at each other, and they start doing that. And then just embrace each other like Matt just died.
Leah starts crying when she's walking down the hallway by herself.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh.
I could see them building, and I was like, nope, fast forward. I'm not watching you two cry.
I like when Chelsea and Lisa were talking, because so what happens in Big Brother as well is people like everyone to vote the way they vote. So if you vote different from the majority of the house, then you're on the outs, and they're going to come after you. So Lisa's aware of this. Lisa was one of the 3 votes to keep Matt and vote Kenny out. So she's like, oh shit, if people find out that I voted this way, they know Mackenzie and Leah did, but they're like, if people think I voted for him, then I'm going to be in trouble. So she lies to Chelsea.
Straight to Chelsea's face.
And Chelsea knows it. That's what's the best about it, because they're like, oh, I'm sure you didn't. And then they go right to the diary room, and she's like, I knew that bitch was lying.
I know she lied to me.
I love it. So then Leah and MJ cry over Matt and vow to get rid of Angela. Okay, so then they go into the head of household competition.
Yes.
Now,
Can I just say, aside from everything terrible that Angela has done, even if she was the nicest person, I cannot stand the way that she talks. Like, her cadence in her voice is so obnoxious.
Yeah. I'm not a fan. And, people we know really well are big fans of hers.
Really?
Yes.
It better not be Ryan? Ryan likes Angela?
And Wade.
Why? Why, Ryan?
Ryan, I'm going to need you to send an email to wwn@watermarkonline.com and explain
and then
yourself.
I'm going to need you to send a letter of resignation to your boss.
Is it a game now, Ryan?
I cannot have these hateful people in my life.
All right, so they have to. So this is like this animal-themed thing where they watch cute videos of animals.
I would have killed at this game because this is all I do all night. Is just scroll through TikTok watching stupid animal videos.
And you had to pay attention to some weird, silly details.
And
I was getting pretty excited about it because, as I was saying, like. As the time goes on, I start to actually like some of the contestants. I don't like any of them at first, and then I start to. But I kind of like Leah, the chubby chaser.
Leah's okay. I don't have any problems other than she's a crier.
Yeah.
I love. I love Tucker. There's something weird about Tucker that I really like. What's his name? The Marine who was in the costume, the mascot.
Cedric. I like Cedric.
I love Cedric.
I think he's gorgeous.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's hot too. Cam, I like Cam. Cam's hot too.
I liked Cam, but except Cam's playing a smart game, and I'd rather. See, the thing is that I go back and forth about who I like and who I don't because I'm always on the side of the underdog. And right now, that's Mackenzie, Kenny, and Leah, and I'm on their side.
I like Kenny.
So when somebody said to Cam, when the person who had a household, and they're like, "Who should we put up?" He said Leah, Mackenzie, and Lisa.
Kenny.
All right. Was it Kenny? Oh, okay.
I think he said those three.
And then, but then the girls were like, "We're not putting all girls up," or whatever, or them and Kenny. So, but anyway, so I was getting excited because Lisa gets like the top 3, right? You watch these videos and they ask you a question, you got to say whether the question is true or false, or they make a statement, you have to say whether it's true or false. So it gets down to T-Core, Chelsea and Leah. And I knew the answer to this. Listen, if you're watching a video,
that was the first thing I did is I counted the kittens.
You count the kittens.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a thing happening, you count the number of things that are happening because that's definitely going to be a question. So there was this little. Anyway, I don't know how 6 kittens fit in that thing. There's this little thing, and kittens come running out of it. And the question was, how many kittens came out of the thing? Or no, it said 6 kittens were in.
True or false?
True
6
or false.
kittens came out of the bucket or whatever.
Yeah, definitely true. So,
and Chelsea was true.
And the rest
other
were
2
false.
was like false, and I was like, no, it is 6.
So Chelsea wins, and I wasn't sure I liked Chelsea, but I might like Chelsea.
I don't have a problem with Chelsea.
I don't have a problem with Chelsea.
Chelsea's in the middle for me right now. I don't know which way she's going to fall.
But I wrote this down. After Chelsea wins, I wrote, Lisa is annoying. Chemo is still crying.
Yeah. Both of those things are true.
It was a good conversation, though, and this is why I might like her.
Chemo and Chelsea had
a great conversation about Chemo's family and trying to come out to them, and they're accepting him and being in a religious family, but his father had passed away before he could come out to him, and Chelsea has a gay brother who was afraid to come out to them because of religious reasons, and so it was a really cool, great conversation. Yeah. There's usually a conversation like this with the gay person that's in the house, and it's always kind of really touching, and so that was kind of cool. And I get why he was crying then, but so was Chelsea. And for whatever reason, I feel like I'm just gonna tell you like every alliance that gets formed. So now that there is a new head of household, a new alliance starts to form. It happens all the time. So now Cedric, Cam, Chelsea are working together, and they want to pull in Quinn and Brooklyn to a group called the Pentagon.
Yes.
But what's different this time than any other time is they have a secret handshake.
They do.
They high five, and then they wrap their thumb around it.
And then they do the thing where the fingers, and they put them together into a pentagon.
Yeah, and then they summons the devil. I don't know. I think that they're going to regret. I don't know where Cam sits currently with Angela. They haven't shown how, because they were a final 2, and I don't know if he's dropped that since she went batshit or if he's going to do it. But they're going to regret they're going to regret pulling Quinn into it if he's still with Angela.
Yeah. Quinn, the moment Quinn and Joseph went to Angela, and they're like, "We're doing this and blah blah blah," I was like, I don't trust those 2 little snakes. You know what they remind me? You ever see the Disney's Hercules? They remind me of Hades' little demon things that are voiced like Bob Goldthwait. I don't know who voices the other one. That's what those two remind me of.
Yeah.
Two little shits running around stirring up trouble.
Pretty much.
Kissing up to Hades. Who's Angela? Angela's is Hades.
So what happens every time you have a new head of household, you've got people going in one by one to talk to the head of household. Usually the head of household is like, just, I'm here to collect information. It's a really good chance to learn everything and then use it against people later, right? Because people are willing to tell the head of household anything. But Chelsea's doing a little different. She's like, I'm the second head of household. I'm not going to play. I want to know who the house wants to get out, and that's who I'm going to put up because I want everything to be smooth and I don't want any blood on my hands. But in those, Mackenzie does a really smart thing, which at first I thought, this is dumb, Mackenzie. Don't tell her about your power because you're not aligned with her. But she does, because Mackenzie has that power up. So she tells Chelsea about it, which then makes Chelsea say, I'm not nominating her because if I do, she'll pull herself down and then she'll come after me. Yeah. Very smart on Mackenzie's part. So I'm kind of a fan of her right now.
I, in the opposite, am not a fan of Quinn not telling anybody that he has it after he told Angela. That's going to come and bite him in the ass.
He knows it too.
Yeah.
He
should have kept his mouth shut with everyone if he was going to do that.
Yeah, so he's lying to everybody, and I get where he's coming from. Like you're my final two. I'm going to tell you everything, right? But then he starts. So then everybody else he lies to, but then the people that he's lied to, they become part of an alliance, and he's like, I'm in too deep. If I tell them I lied to them, they're going to think he's good at lying.
Yeah,
we can't
what else
trust
has he
him.
lied about?
Right. So then he's like, I just got to play this out and say it's nothing, and hope Angela doesn't rat him out, which she's gonna. I hope she stays long enough to do that.
Well, we don't know because
nominations came out.
Nominations came up. Chelsea nominated 3 people. And I had the same look on my face when she put Angela up that Tucker had when she put Lisa up.
When they had their one-on-ones, I wanted to mention this. And Chelsea's talking to Tucker, and she's like, "Who do you think should be kicked out?" And he was like, Lisa. And then he's like, she's just really annoying. And then they started to play
the clips of every time she's being annoying and cutting to Tucker rolling his eyes at everything she says.
What's funny about it all is that the series of clips makes it look like this. It makes it look like, to Lisa, hey, this is a fellow chef. We're buds. And now I'm going to tell him all the stuff. He makes granola bars. And she's like, I'm going to use these olives to make a tempanade. And he's like, a what? He's like, I don't give a shit about what that is. He's like, she's making up words. Nobody knows what the hell she's making. It's hilarious. And he just cannot stand her.
Yeah.
Bitch ate a cracker. That's what she is to him. And it's hilarious. So yeah, that whole montage of things is hilarious. And I feel bad for her because she has no idea that he hates her as much as he does.
Yeah. But, I mean, she is obnoxious.
She is. I mean, right off the bat, when he said, I'm a chef, and she stood up and said, I'm a chef, man.
Yeah.
Sit down, girl. We're getting to you.
Yeah. It's not your spotlight yet.
Right.
So it's Angela, Lisa, and then Kenny got put up again.
Yeah.
And
here's
he goes,
the thing.
what's new?
If you ever get in the house, you have got to be the nicest person and make everybody love you no matter what competitions are happening or whatever, because you cannot be one of the first people nominated. If you are, you will be nominated every week. Like the first people nominated are constantly nominated
scarlet letter
until they get out, because people are like, you've already been nominated. People are used to it. Now I don't have to piss somebody else off because everybody just already nominated.
They already associate you with the bottom of the totem pole. Yeah.
So that's where it is.
But that's how it ends. And my last note was Tucker's smirk when Lisa gets put up cracked me up. Like,
yeah, he's kind of funny.
Yeah. I dig Tucker. Also, I think he's kind of handsome in kind of a Neanderthal kind of way because he's got a big forehead.
I don't know how to say it.
But kind of a sexy big forehead?
Yeah. Yeah, because they can be. I mean, just look how hot Queen Elizabeth was.
They can. What do you mean by they? Big forehead people?
Those people, is that what I said?
Those people
can
with the
be
big
hot.
foreheads. He's got like a hot Frankenstein thing going on. I dig it. He's like 9 feet tall, big forehead, bolts in his neck. I love it.
I know this could get me in trouble. It's his accent that I can't get into.
I don't really notice the accent.
Yeah, he's got this kind of, I don't know. I can't pin. I don't know where.
I'm trying to think now.
I think he's from Boston though, isn't he? Because he got that connection with. He's got that connection with.
Is he a Boston?
With Kenny. I don't know if it's
Boston guy?
It kind of sounds like
it's not a straight out Boston because I hate Boston accents.
You can hear it in Kenny's voice, but his is sort of like I don't know if it's like a Staten Island mixed with Jersey and Boston or something like that.
I'm sorry, not Boston. The Staten Island, Long Island accent. That's the one I can't stand.
Oh, okay.
Can't stand that accent. So
like
obnoxious.
Janice from Friends.
Yes. Sorry, Long Island. Can't stand it. Yeah, look there. Look at that forehead. That's a cute forehead. Oh, look at him all.
I think it's a cute
"Hey,
picture.
Jeremy,
He's
how's it
also got
going?"
like 1% body fat.
Yeah, he does.
But I mean, it's a cute picture. But then, for some reason, when he's talking, he just kind of gives me this Jersey Shore vibe. That's not for me.
Yeah, Tucker De La Ruse.
Actually, that's a really good picture of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from Boston. I knew it was
Currently
something.
lives in Brooklyn.
Well, there you go. As I say, yeah, it's sort of a mixture of New England.
If
type
I ever
abs-
lived in New York, I'd live in Brooklyn. I feel like those are my people.
It's probably because that's where you can afford. Although not Park Slopes. Park Slopes is expensive.
He's kidding, Brooklyn, my people.
No.
Your
Brooklyn,
area is beautiful.
No, Brooklyn's getting priced out. Like it was when people left Manhattan, they were going to Queens and Brooklyn, and now Queens and Brooklyn are getting priced out too. It's just really expensive anywhere. But I know a lot of people who moved to New York, like let's say 15 years ago that I know, were moving to Brooklyn because it was cheaper than Manhattan. Nothing against
maybe
Brooklyn.
Tucker needs a roommate, and I'll move in with him.
Actually, the director of Queer Town, she just moved to Brooklyn.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, a couple months ago. Anyway, so that's where it is. That's Big Brother. That's why I love it. That's exciting. It sucks that all this happened right off the bat because I don't know that it's going to get this exciting until like 3 more weeks. You know, when you start getting down
from here,
when you start getting down to like the final thing, and people really form groups and alliances, and they battle each other out and kind of thing. I mean, it gets crazy. This one group of people got into a fight one time, just a shouting match, and this girl got so into this screaming at this guy that she like bit her lip and started bleeding, and like blood was coming out of her mouth, and she's screaming
on the
at the top.
show or talking about the show?
On the show.
Oh,
she was crazy. It was crazy. People get into it. That's what I'm saying.
Fascinating.
All right, so then
Such an interesting character study.
So then Jeremy sends me a text message yesterday.
Yes, we were going to watch that one movie,
Mysterious Skin,
but I can't afford to rent a movie right now.
It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and it's called Mysterious
Michelle
Skin.
Trachtenberg from Buffy.
It's a good movie. It's just about, it's about child molesting.
I don't know what it's about because I didn't get to watch it because I don't have money to rent
It's a drama about how these 2 kids are molested by their baseball coach, and it's about how their lives turn out, and it's really heavy.
Yeah. I don't know if you picked up on this, but I don't have any money.
You want a couple of bucks?
I mean, it doesn't matter now.
I have a $2 lottery ticket.
I don't need to rent this movie anymore, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So we.
So anyway, I'm flipping through Prime, and I came across this movie that is celebrating its 30th anniversary.
Yes.
And I was like, I love a good throwback watch of an anniversary film. But The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Yes, to which he texted me and said, "Is it okay to watch this?" And I said, "It's fine."
But I read the text like, "Ooh, that's fine."
Yeah. So, but I remember I've seen it. I just don't remember how many times. But to me, it was just kind of like, oh, it's slow, and I don't want to watch it. But whatever. It's the 30th anniversary. We'll throw some love to it. Let's watch it.
I realized when I turned it on that I have confused this movie with Tu Wong Fu. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar, and that I have actually not seen this movie. But what makes it more interesting is I was like, I have a memory of talking about this movie, and I went back, and it's because in 2015, I did an interview for Watermark with Tim Chappell, who was the Oscar-winning designer of the costumes from this movie.
Really?
And I was like, why did I talk to him? I don't remember. So I was reading through the story. This is when 2015. So I was living in Tampa. I was the staff writer over there in Tampa, and there was a musical version of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert that had been on Broadway that was being taken on the Norwegian Epic Cruise Line. And I got to talk to him because he was going to be on the cruise accompanying the show. And I got to talk to him about you remember the Oscars in the did you watch the Oscars in the 90s somewhat?
I usually watch all of them.
Do you remember the lady who wore the gold dress made from American Express cards?
No. I do, kind of.
Yeah. It was his partner.
Lizzie?
Yes. Her
Lizzie
and him.
Gardner.
Yes. They both did the costumes for this movie, won the Oscar for it.
Well deserved.
10 years or so later, they did the costumes for the Broadway musical version of this, which was on Broadway for 2 years, won the Tony for costumes for this.
Oh my God, they could EGOT Priscilla all the way. They should do a TV show.
They could do, if they can get this on TV, they can do an Emmy, and then they can write an album of all the best costumes from Priscilla, just rubbing the fabric together, and they could win an Emmy.
It's too bad they didn't write the song. Can they win an what is that called? A Grammy for just compiling the best soundtrack to a movie ever?
Actually, there's been a lot of Broadway stars, a lot of them who got their EGOT, people who have EGOTs, because they were on the cast recording of the album. So all they got to do is if they wrote, a couple of songs while designing some of the outfits.
Like, doesn't Harry Potter he's got a Tony now he doesn't have a Grammy for
Daniel Radcliffe?
Never mind. I'm getting my awards things confused.
I think he
How to
only
Succeed
has
in
a
Business
Tony.
Without ever really trying won the Tony, but I just didn't know. It probably didn't win a Grammy. Never mind. I'm making shit up.
Oh, there's the dress, by the way. That's who his partner was. So they won the Oscar. So I was going through the interview, and this has actually nothing to do with Priscilla, but I thought this was hilarious because I don't recall this. I remember talking about Priscilla, but I don't remember this interview at all. But a question came up because he had been in the business for a while. And I asked him, where did the question go? Oh, what
did he say?
Have you had a situation where there's like a particular celebrity that you've been working with doing costumes who is just like really difficult and you just regret working with? And I think I've asked this question before and most people don't want to answer it, but he totally answered it. And do you know who Lainey Kazan is? She was in My Big Fat Greek's Wedding.
She the star of it?
No. She was, I think, one of the aunts. She was in The Nanny. My Favorite Year. She was nominated for a Golden Globe. She was nominated.
I know who she is.
Yeah. So he said she is totally insane.
She was the mother of the girl in.
Yeah, I think she was mom. Yeah. He said, Lainey is a totally insane. See you next Tuesday.
Oh my God.
And we printed it.
We're so on the edge.
So I was like, holy shit. I totally forgot that I talked to him and that he cannot stand this woman.
That's funny.
Anyway, he said that she's a horrible person. He would never work with her ever again.
We'll just refer to her as Angela from now on.
Yes. He actually said, the woman is truly insane, the most horrible person I have ever worked with. Generally, the bigger the star, the nicer they are. The people who give you the most trouble are the people whose stars are either waning or rising. So she'd been in the business a while, so I think hers was waning.
I that sounds accurate.
Yeah.
It's usually I don't. Yeah, never mind.
I will say, based on my...
say something, and then you're like, nah, that's just going to offend people. I'm not going to say it.
I won't use names, but based on, the few years that I have been doing this and some of the interviews I've gotten to do, it's very true. Usually the people who are, they're coming off of their rise to stardom, they're usually very bitter. And the ones who are just starting to ascend are usually, for the most part, seem a little cocky.
Yeah, I feel like in a money world too. This is kind of what I was going to say, but I'll use classifieds as an example because we don't do those anymore.
Yeah,
but they were always the most difficult to deal with, and they were the smallest, least expensive ways to get advertising, and they were always the most difficult, and there were like just a handful of them, but it took the most time. As opposed to say like big advertisers and things like that.
I do remember when I did sales, it was always the people who bought an 8th page ad who were always the whiniest about their ad. They're like, no, I need it to look exactly like. I'm like, dude, just keep your $180. I gotta move on.
So I wasn't gonna quite explain it that way, but yeah, that's what I was.
We don't have any advertisers like that now. This was many years ago. They've all died. I don't know.
I can't wait. I want to see emails like, I had Jeremy as my rep and I had an 8th page ad and I wouldn't have been so whiny if he could do his fucking job. I bet Angela buys a lot of 1/8 page ads for her real estate.
Yeah, I bet she bitches about it all the time. I'm not getting any response off of this. Well, that's because you bought the cheapest ad one time, Angela.
I hope she loses her entire client base while she's in that house.
Anyway, yes, we watched The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Yeah. And so I only wrote down a few things about the cast so much time about. It stars Hugo Weaving.
Yes.
Of Lord of the Rings fame.
Lord of the Rings, The Matrix.
Like, he has a lot. His career boomed.
Yes.
But this was one of his earliest movies.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Before he became big time.
Before he became big.
Do you know that I just noticed this, and this might be something for us to consider later. There's another movie too. Maybe not this one, but he's in a gay comedy. He plays a gay guy in something called Bedrooms and Hallways, and it's a gay comedy that came out just a couple years after.
Is he openly gay?
I looked it up. I can't say that he is. He's married to a woman with children. And
Katie Seagal?
No. Oh, I was like,
he said married with children.
And his son's an actor. His son has been in a couple of things that I recognize, but I didn't write any of them down because I didn't recognize them enough. So he's in it. It also he plays the lead character whose name
is Tick. That's his nickname, but his drag name is Mitzi Del Bra.
And then Guy Pearce is in it.
Yes.
Also, very early in his career.
Yes.
And Guy Pearce went on to do a ton of other movies.
Memento. Have you ever seen Memento?
Yes.
Love it. L.A. Confidential. Love it. He's such a good actor.
He's also in
The Time Machine.
The Time Machine.
Love
That's
it.
the one I was going to say. He's in that. He too is in a movie that came out in 2015. And this one I want to watch. I'm going to watch it whether we cover it or not. Yeah. But he plays like an anti-gay dad in a movie called Holding the Man, which I definitely want to see. And it's about these two, from watching the preview, it seems to be about these two guys that fell in love in high school and they remain together for years and years later. But even after college, when they've been together still since high school and after college, they come out to their families and people are like, this is a phase. And they're like, no. We've been together since we were in high school. This is my husband. And so it looks like a drama. It looks like something happens to one of them. I can't figure it out. But I'm totally invested. I want to watch it.
We'll check it out.
And then there is...
Guy Pearce plays Adam, a.k.a. Felicia Jolly Goodfellow.
Yes.
That's his drag name.
And then the third drag queen.
Who I didn't realize he was in this.
Yeah.
Terrence Stamp.
Yeah.
He's from Superman 2.
Yeah.
He's General Zod.
Yeah, he's General Zod. But he's also in, he just plays a villain in a lot of things. I can't think of any of them to name. So what's that one? Was that button that you had to press? The gift? The box? Wasn't he in that? I don't think
that's Terrence Stamp. That's the guy who played Nixon in Frost Nixon. He also played Skeletor in Masters of the Universe. I don't remember his name, though.
My apologies. You're going to get 2 videos from me.
But while he's looking that up, Terrence Stamp plays Bernadette, who is a trans woman whose husband, much, much younger husband, Trumpet, has just died.
Terrence Stamp was a very good-looking man. When he was younger, he's in Young Guns. He was in, he was in the 2003 version of The Haunted Mansion. I imagine he played
He was the butler.
Yes, the Adjustment Bureau. That's what I was thinking. He was the head of the Adjustment Bureau. The one Matt Damon movie.
Yes.
Yeah, he was just in a lot. He had a huge career.
Yeah. But yeah, when I was a kid, saw him in Superman. So I've always associated him with Superman. But even briefly knowing about this movie, didn't know he was in it. And then when he came up, I was like, oh my God, it's Terrence Stamp. Yeah. So the story takes place in Sydney, Australia. Yeah.
I was going to say this. I don't know if this is rude to say, but he was just giving me Kathleen Turner vibes from Friends.
Oh, I can see it. Yeah.
But also I wanted to point out one other cast member. Well, two. Bill Hunter, who plays the...
Bob.
Yeah. He passed away.
Oh.
Everybody else seems to be alive from the cast but him. But then June Marie Hill. Do you know who she is?
Mm-mm.
She's the woman in the bar.
Oh, yes.
Who gets in the drinking competition with Bernadette. I just like to mention her because she was the only speaking role for a local woman in the movie. So she's just a local person in this.
Oh, really?
She was like a local actress in the theater in town, and so they hired her to do that role.
Oh, that's cool.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so I do want to mention, because Bernadette's husband, Trumpet, dies, and I thought this was hilarious how he died, because they were like, so he slipped and fell in the bathroom, and Bernadette was like, no, he died by asphyxiation by choking on the peroxide fumes while he was bleaching his hair, which I thought was hilarious.
That is funny.
That's why I will never bleach my hair.
They do show a picture of him later. He's a very nice-looking young man.
Yeah. He was only 25.
I just want to say that because my memory of this movie is that, okay, it's okay, but I just wasn't excited about watching it.
Yeah.
And at the very opening, the first note of the song playing, and I was like, oh, I got the warm fuzzies, and I was like, I love this song. I'm gonna love this movie.
Yeah.
And it was I can't remember it's like I've been to paradise, but I've never been to me. And I loved that. I loved the performance of it, the weirdness of it all. There's a line where I took the hand of a preacher man, and out of nowhere comes this kid dressed as a preacher and takes her hand. And then Felicia comes on stage. I guess they were talking about a baby, and they've got a rubber chicken and swaddled in a thing. It's just weird. But I did love it.
Yeah. So the premise of it is Tick, or Mitzi, is going to drive across the Outback Desert for a gig at a hotel casino stint there, and is bringing Felicia with him, who is Adam, when not in drag, and then convinces Bernadette to come with them.
Now,
so she's not just sitting there.
They're going. Do you know what the city they're going to is called?
I don't believe I
They're
wrote that down.
driving to the North Australia to go to a city called Alice Springs, which I only know of because I love Alice Springs chicken from the Outback Steakhouse. It's so good. Anyway, just want to give it a shout out.
Interesting.
To Alice Springs chicken. I was getting hungry the whole time I'm watching it. I'm like, this is so good. It's like chicken with cheese and bacon and mushrooms and onions. It's delicious.
I bet that people who are from Alice Springs love that chicken. I bet it's their local cuisine. They eat it with everything.
I bet they go around saying, like, stupid Americans, we don't eat chicken in Alice Springs.
Yeah. Have you watched any of the TikToks of, like, Australians who come into town and then they go to Outback to see what it's like? And none of it is there. None of it.
They don't eat blue and onions
is like
there?
Australia. None of it. None of it makes sense to them. They're like, none of this is our country's culture. I don't know where you came up with this. None of it. So they're heading up to the three of them are heading up to Alice Springs, and they get a bus that Felicia buys for $10,000 that she got from her mom, with the promise that she would be heading out into the desert to try to find a woman to settle him down, which I thought was hilarious.
That is funny. He is so young in this.
Yes, and he's so crazy effeminate, which cracked me up when he's like, I told my mother she bought my bus, I'd head out into the desert to find a woman to settle me down.
It's interesting. It takes a minute to get used to him because he's way overacting. But he could just be like, he's just young and full of life and real flamboyant and all that. He has a line in the beginning of the show. I have no idea what he said. I told Jen, I was like, do we have to put subtitles on for this movie? Because it's just this real thick Australian accent. Couldn't understand a thing.
Yeah.
But I did write down that I love him in this. Right at the beginning, when he was prancing around in the thing, saying whatever I couldn't understand, but it was kind of cracking me up. I was like, oh, he's fun.
I loved all three of them in this movie. I thought they were all fantastic. So the whole movie is just them going cross country and running into just an array of, I'm sure, not at all stereotypical Australian characters as they're making their way to their gig on the other side of the continent.
When they were driving and they stop in the desert to have their first sleep, and Felicia's out cooking hot dogs.
Yes.
And the other two go to sleep, and then
they locked her out of the bus.
What was the point of that?
I assume because she was annoying them, so they were like, sleep outside because you're bugging us.
Desert of Australia, and maybe this is another thing like the outback that's not really Australian, but if I know two things about Australia, it's that everyone loves Alice Springs chicken.
Sure.
And it is a country that tries to kill you. Like that there are 1,000 ways to die in the desert of Australia. Like the animals and all that stuff is just
the wildlife.
Highly dangerous. The wildlife is dangerous. So why would you lock somebody out to sleep in a desert?
And they're Australian. They're used to it. Also, I've seen...
Oh, they only kill tourists.
I've seen TikToks from, like, people overseas who think Florida is like that. They're like, I don't know how people survive in Florida.
Because I think alligators just walk the streets and eat.
Because they think alligators and crazy drugged-up Florida man are just murdering and torturing
eating
everybody.
Faces.
Yeah.
I get that.
It's crazy.
This might be one of the things that he said that I like. I don't know where it came. He was talking about the bus. When he buys the bus, he met a group of Swedish tourists called Lars, and Lars. Just me. I just found that funny.
That's very funny. So they learned that while they're driving on the bus, Mitzi tells them that the lady who manages the hotel that they're going to work at is actually his wife. So they didn't know that he was married. He's married.
And then I wrote comments like things that people said in order, so I'm gonna jump around. But
sure.
Why was that so emotional for him to tell them that he had a wife, and then he cried and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't tell you." Like, who cares? Okay, you got a wife. It was a big deal.
I don't know. Would it be a big deal if I told you I've had a wife?
Well, I would just be like, for 7 years and we've been friends and you didn't say anything about it. But would you cry?
How long have they been friends?
A long time, I guess. But would you cry and say you're sorry
if I told you I had a wife? I don't know. If I was an emotional gay,
do you know what I would say to you?
Chemo probably would.
If you told me you had a wife, I would say, what does she think about Brussels sprouts? And would I get along with her? You know, I would. I don't know. I honestly wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Good for you. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I didn't care when, like, Friends, they didn't care when Lisa Kudrow, Phoebe, said she had a husband. Nobody cared.
I mean, nobody cried, but it seemed like they cared.
Well, that's what I mean.
Shocked.
Nobody cried. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they're just emotionals.
I guess so.
They're in their feelings.
Also, Billy Don't Be a Hero played. Good song.
So one of the place they stop, and you mentioned this earlier about the lady, the local. They stop off in a bar, and they're dressed in drag, and she says, your kind we don't serve people like you here. And Bernadette says, now listen here, you mullet, which cracked me up. Why don't you just light your tampon and blow your box apart, because it's the only bang you're ever going to get. That made me laugh.
And then everybody loved them.
And then everybody laughed, and they're like, let the drag queen
Bernadette has
stay.
a lot of fun things that she says.
Yeah.
Like she's at one point the other two are singing, and she yells, you sound like two fat slags at a pie contest. I don't know what that means, but it made me laugh. And then she called somebody a ring pirate. And I'm like, what is that? I thought maybe it was a way of saying butt pirate. Yeah. But it's not. I looked it up. They're playing I Spy as they're driving along. And it's just like a thing that starts with an R. And she says it was a ring pirate. And that's apparently a person who wears their cock ring all the time. It's a ring pirate.
All right. So the next morning they get up to leave, and somebody has painted "AIDS fuckers go home" outside along the side of their bus.
Not cool.
Not cool.
Not cool, Australia.
Although I did like this when Felicia, after she paid for the room and she was walking out, the guy said, "Where you blokes from?" And he said, "Uranus."
That's because the drinker at the bar asked if they were from Uranus.
Yeah.
And so when the guy asked him, he said, Uranus. That made me laugh.
So the bus ends up breaking down in the middle of the night, and they're stuck out in the middle of the desert, which seems very terrifying, but they seem to be fine with it. That was one of the things I noticed in the movie while I was watching. I was like, none of them seem at all bothered. You're in the middle of nowhere with no help, and they're just like, all right, let's rehearse. And I'm like, why aren't you spazzing out? Anyway, I just spazzed out.
You know what I just realized? This show's about Australia. Not one Air Supply song in it.
I knew I liked this movie.
Not one. That just lost the grape.
Yep. So while the bus is broken down, each one of the girls decide to handle the situation differently. Bernadette decides she's going to go marching into the desert to find help. And Felicia decides to paint the bus, to paint over the graffiti, and paints the entire bus like this lavender purpley color. And then Mitzi just rehearses her show in the middle of the desert.
I don't know why she has to rehearse that show so much. It's not like the choreography is complicated.
No, by the end, it's like I was watching. I was like, I don't know what you were rehearsing, girl.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one thing I wrote down. Costumes great, choreography not so great. Did you notice this because they got to a road and it was like, hey, you can keep going this way, but you can take a shortcut this way, and it was the shortcut where the bus broke down. But when they made that turn to go in the shortcut,
there was no road.
There was no road. But did you notice the thing that came following behind them?
Yes, it happened twice.
Yeah,
and they never addressed it again. It's a runner with lights on and like pulling a little cart.
Yeah. And so I was sitting and I kept making notes. What the fuck is that? And then Jen said, it's the girl from the beginning of the movie. Do you remember when they were in the bus and everybody was giving the big send off? That there was something going on in front of the bus, and they were announcing that there was this runner that was going to run across the country, and then like it was like, here's your big send off to the runner, but then the camera panned and it went to the bus where they were all.
I did not notice that.
And that's what it was. It's so weird. And
but they don't address it at the end. No, like I thought that the runner would like.
And you see the person again towards the end, and you're like, anyway.
So they end up getting the bus towed eventually to this little town where they meet Bob.
Oh, we're skipping over just one cute little part. I just want to say real quick.
And we're already at an hour and 50 minutes. I was just trying to
we'll get
move it along.
But you can't get the Aboriginal drag queen, the people in the desert.
Alan.
Were awesome. And they dressed them in drag, and they had a little drag show, and it was fun. Go ahead. I won't.
Yes.
I won't.
Alan
as long
gets
as you're
to
gonna
dress in
mention the
drag.
Abboturd, we're good.
I mentioned what?
The Abboturd.
Oh. So then they get the tow truck, and then they go out, and that's where you meet Bob, who's the mechanic. He has a Filipino wife named Cynthia, who is younger than Bob. Bob mentions that he likes les girls. Les girls? I don't know if that's a...
Lay girls.
Lay girls. I don't know if that's a specific Australian phrase or something I've never heard. But I assume that
means
was...
drag queens.
Well, that's what I thought. But then he makes reference to lay girls being different than drag queens. So I don't know if that was maybe like a term for transgender women that he was talking about. But I don't know what he meant by that. But he convinces them to go dance at a local pub. And he's all excited. He thinks they're great. What?
A woman who is not a member of a particular profession or not an expert in a certain field. Oh, never mind. No, that's not it.
Okay.
I'm going to look up slang lay girls.
So, the bar, Bob, you found it?
Sorry. Lay girls. It's LES girls. And it's, cross drag show.
Okay. The girls get up there and they're dancing in drag, and Bob's all excited. He's like, yeah, great show. And none of the other guys are digging it. And then Bob's wife, Cynthia, gets up there, And let's just say that before she was Bob's wife, she was a performer in the Philippines where she was very good at the ping pong ball trick, if you know what I mean.
I knew where it went in, but I'm not so sure I knew where it was coming out.
Well, I'm assuming
because she bent
put
over.
it in, yeah. And then she bent over.
She put it in the front, and then she bent over, and it came out the back.
Yeah.
She's a talented girl. Shooting them across the room. She
Get
does,
into the audience.
Let's just say
she does them.
She does her kegels.
So Cynthia decides that, this is the life she really wanted. And then she leaves Bob.
Poor Bob.
She's like, I don't want to be with you no more, Bob. So Bob's like, oh, well, I'll just go with the three queens on their road trip. Sort of like an onboard mechanic for the rest of the trip.
Yeah.
So they're going along. They end up stopping at another small town where they're not so kind and friendly to people who are different. So Bob's like, I'm going to go have some drinks with these blokes. And Felicia's like, I'm going to go about town. And they're like, no, you stay in the room. And she decides to do some drugs, get dressed up in drag, and she's going to go out and party, where she is chased by a group of not so understanding, conservative, probably like Donald Trump type guys. And she gets punched in the face. And then she gets rescued by Bob. Excuse me. Mitzi and Bernadette. Bernadette ends up punching one of them in the dick. Which was fun. That was nice. So they eventually make it to Alice Springs, and Mitzi's all kind of like, nervous, like, oh my God, Joel, you're gonna meet my wife. And the way that he's putting it up, it sounds like he has an estranged relationship with her, like they don't get along. And then he goes in and she's all like, oh my God, all excited to see him, gives him a hug, knows everything about him. We find out he has an 8-year-old son.
Yes.
Whose name is Rick? No.
Benjamin.
That was supposed to say Tick. It got changed to Rick.
Benjamin.
Benjamin is the 8-year-old son. So he tells his wife, Benjamin's going to be nowhere near the show because he doesn't want him to see that he's a drag queen and gay and judge him. So they're performing. And then Bob is cheering, and Marion, his wife, is cheering, and then you see little Benjamin cheering, and Mitzi's like, oh shit, my son's watching, and she faints. And finds out...
This poor kid must have a complex. Like, Bernadette fainted when she first saw him, and then his dad fainted.
He's like, I must just have that riz. all these adults are just passing out when they see me. So Mitzi is really nervous because thinks that, my son's going to hate me. And they're outside and he's like, asks them, hey, do you have a boyfriend? And he's like, I might, I'm a boyfriend. Yeah. And he's like, I think that would be really
legit
nice.
How the whole scene went.
Yeah. And then he's like, and you perform. Mom says you're the best performer out there. And he's like, well, I don't know about that. And
I don't know either.
Will you perform ABBA for me? And you see him just light up like, my son loves ABBA. And he's like, yeah, I will perform ABBA for you.
Oh, that first performance they did? That's when they do Finally, right? That's the first. That's
one of the songs.
That's like the first one that they. I remember that scaring me when I was younger and I watched this for the first time. Like when he's crawling on the floor.
Yeah, he's dressed like a lizard or a dragon or something.
He's all in though. I'll give him that. The rest of them just kind of looked like they were marking it, but he was all into that song.
So while they're all getting to know each other, there was one scene where Felicia's talking to Benjamin. And they're like, hey, they don't really have anything to talk about. And he says, do you want to come play in my room? I have Lego. And I was like, yes, I do.
I did think of you when that was happening. So while they were all getting to know each other and they were playing charades in the desert, did you notice what the kid did?
No.
When he did like, he went like this and a baby.
Yeah.
And then he went like this. And
like
then
a scary baby.
And then Bernadette said, Lindy Chamberlain, and then he made some comment about how that was crass or something like that. Do you know who Lindy Chamberlain is?
I don't, but I'm going to guess based on baby and rare. Is she the one that dingo ate my baby?
Yes, she's the real life woman who got arrested for murdering her child when it was eaten by a dingo.
Yeah.
And the kid used it in charades.
Did you ever see the Meryl Streep movie about that?
I'm sure I have.
Yeah. I think it's her and Sam Neill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
but
watch
it's it's been a long time.
It's like a dingo ate my baby.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Marion needs a break, so she's like, "Hey, I need you to take your son and take him back to Sydney with you and be a father for a little bit." And he's like, "Okay." So they pack up the bus. Their stint is over, and they're heading back to Sydney. And then Bernadette's like, "I'm gonna stay here because I'm gonna run the hotel while Marion's on vacation because she needs a break." And then Bob is staying. So I think something's gonna happen between Bernadette and Bob.
Yeah,
they were all flirty the entire movie.
And he knocked on her door at some point and went in. We don't know what happened.
We know what happened. And then it ends with them singing ABBA, which is all Benjamin ever wanted.
Yeah, he got his
actually, that's
wish.
not what it. Did you watch to the end of the credits?
No.
Okay, so there's an end credit scene way before the MCU. So one scene that we forgot is while they're in the desert, there's a blow-up doll, and they tie it to a kite,
right.
and they're flying it out. At the end of the credits, it lands in China, and a Chinese man catches the blow-up doll.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And I was like, it flew all the way to China, and I remembered, oh, wait, they're in Australia. That's not that far. It's right up the road.
That's funny.
Anyway, I really loved this movie. I thought it was hilarious. I dug it.
I liked it too, and it's there was a lot of what I would just say. It was drag joy.
Yeah.
It was this, powerful, like, 3 drag queens getting together and going off and handling the role. I just really liked it this time when I saw it.
Specifically, lot less crying, but Mitzi and Felicia's relationship reminded me of me and Chris.
100%. I don't know, maybe Bernadette and we all don't hate each other.
No,
but you kind of Bernadette him sometimes.
He Bernadette's me a lot more than I do him.
What do you give it? How many grapes?
I'm 2 3/4 grapes. I'm a 3/4 grape guy today.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a solid 2.5.
Yeah,
it's worth. It's you know what it is. It's one of those movies that if you haven't seen it, it's gonna be a list of movies that you need to see. It's like your gay card of movies that you have to see, and I say this is one of them.
Absolutely,
it's definitely a good. And I would say this over To Wong Fu.
I love this more than To Wong Fu.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Yeah, costumes were amazing. Not surprised it won an Oscar for it.
What do you think Rotten Tomatoes said?
I feel like this had a positive, like back in the day, I remember it having a positive reception. So I'm going to say...
Yeah, and it came out in 1994.
Yeah,
so
30th anniversary.
For its when it came out, it was groundbreaking. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm going to say 88 from critics, and... I don't know. Audience on this is hard because did like the
I don't think so.
Conservative right find it and drag it down.
I think it's too old.
But I'm gonna put this up like on birdcage level. So I'm gonna say like 91.
A little reversed. 88 critics, 94. Oh, wrong. 94 critics, 88 audience.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Very well. Very well done. Very nice. Good.
Very well then.
Good episode.
All right. So we'll catch you next time.
And I avoided doing Australian accents for the most part. I really was like going into this. I was like, I'm going to try out my Australian accent.
That's really our gift to Australia.
Yeah.
You
You're
give
welcome.
us air supply. We give you Jeremy not doing your accent.
You're welcome, mate.
Didn't you kind of do it though when you were talking about?
Yeah,
Outback?
a little bit. A little bit. Here's another one. The show's over. Oh no. That's how they said
That's
no.
Australia?
Yeah, they're like, oh no.
Oh, do you know that Dylan and I talk to each other like that all the time, not knowing it was?
Oh, you're Australian. There you go.
It started from the Ermagerd, and
That's
then
Australian too.
And then it went to like, you want some food? Or like, do no more food on my plate. I can't eat the food.
You sound just like Guy Pearce.
it's like and when you're with somebody for a long time, you go through like phases of different ways you talk to each other. This one's lasted a long time.
Yeah. Nice. Well, we'll talk about more of that. We'll learn more about your phases in the next episode. But until then, the cork is back in the bottle.